Hello all, hello everyone that's joining live and hello everyone that watches on the replay. This is our very first GGC Business GlowGetters live, and for this we are looking to have chats every week with our business members of our club, because we want to shine the glow light on them, on their business, how they find the GGC Business Club. So if perhaps you're thinking about joining, you're getting some testimonials as well. But really we want to get into our business members' business. We want to find out about what they do, what the products or services they offer, what they've learned in business, just so that we can all share in their knowledge. And today we are having our first interview with the amazing Heather Offord from One4Growth. So let's get Heather in now. Just waiting for Heather to join. Hello!
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Not bad. I'm just trying to get my camera right here without my phone falling over.
See this like live lockdown life, you're going into every room, eh? You're like, right, what backdrop could be okay for this?
I'm not going to lie, I've totally set up my backdrop. I moved everything to one side, so my head sits between like the nice bits. I can't move.
Do you know what? That is actual planning at its finest. I'm in Bella Rose's room, as you can tell by the Disney castle behind me.
Brilliant.
So Heather, thank you so much for joining. Obviously, you would be our first glow getter, being so intrinsic to the GGC business, but also a businesswoman in your own right with your own amazing brand that is just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it is. So thanks for having me on.
Not at all. Right, okay, so Heather, let's chat about One4Growth. Let's chat about your business, where you've brought it to.
Okay, so One4Growth is actually quite new, rebrand. So we launched 3 years ago. Actually, on paper, we registered the company One4Events Limited about 4 years ago, but I did nothing with it. I was already working. So eventually left work, went full time doing One4Events, and we were effectively an events company. It's what we did. So that's my background. And it snowballed into doing social media for people as well, and doing some just helping businesses get seen and growing, predominantly through events and social media. And then obviously lockdown hit, and about 80% of the business just cancelled overnight, which was horrific. But after you have that initial shit, what am I going to do? We decided, you know what, we've got loads of social media companies on, and what we found was by the end of May, kind of into June, that so many people were either starting companies or had started companies or had small companies, and suddenly we're at a bit of a loss what to do. What do they do now? Yeah. Because you know what it's like when you own your own company, you're not giving up. You're not going to give up. So you need to decide, what do I do? So by this point, we'd already been completely online for about 3 months. And that was quite nice, because actually one of my big aims is to be able to have a company that's predominantly be able to run wherever we are.
Yes.
So in May, I started thinking about rebranding to One4Growth instead of One4Events, because people were still looking at us and going, it's an events company, is it social media? What is it they actually do? And I do a lot of networking, as you know, and I found it really difficult going into an event or to an event and saying, One4Events, but actually, I don't just do events.
Yeah, like your elevator pitch was just like you were like trying to work it out.
Yeah, it was confused. Yeah. So then in August came a change to the business. Rona, who was working with us, left to go on to a new opportunity. And I had the chance to stop and think, actually, it's just me again. How do I want the business actually to be? And I'd already got the logo done for One4Growth and thought, you know what? Every single part of the business, no matter whether it's an event, social media, consultancy, it all comes down to me helping small businesses grow.
Yes.
And so I was like, it's just time to do it. And as well, it made more sense. It just made sense. So I did that, and it's been the best thing that I did, because now it's clear what we do. We help small businesses grow. We do it through social media, collaborations, introducing people to the right people, making sure their strategy's right, and really networking as well. So yeah, that's how One4Growth came about, and it was the best decision I've made because the business has doubled since doing that. So yeah, that's how One4Growth came about. So effectively, we work with small or new businesses predominantly, to really get them up and running, and we try and do it as much as we can on a small business budget, because we get that you might need help. And I feel like small businesses have the same right to all the opportunities and services out there as big businesses do. They just potentially don't have the budget that the big companies are doing. So I'm trying to do that in a smaller way for people that can afford it.
Fantastic. Right, okay, so you had mentioned, Heather, because obviously you've got a long and lucrative career. Sorry, I don't mean it as in you're
call me old live, thanks.
Not at all, Heather, but what I mean to say is you've got a lot of experience. So you had said obviously you had registered One4Events, but you had it registered for about a year before you left your full-time employment. So for any like ladies that are watching this, any people that are watching this and they're thinking, right, you know, I've got a side hustle, I want it to be my full-time hustle, or I've got a dream of being a business. How did you take that step? What was like your moment that you were like, right, I'm just going to go for it?
There was a couple of things along the way. So originally the reason I started was because I had a kid and I wasn't seeing her at all, and I was working for a company where I was doing 70 odd hours. I made myself really ill and ended up in hospital. And at that point, I took a step back, and actually a friend had said to me, come and work for me. It's just part-time. I can work around the school hours. So I was doing that, and it was good. And actually they had asked me to start doing family events in this venue, and we did it. And there was such this massive demand for it, but then they wanted to stop it. So I'm like, we can't just stop this. We literally have waiting lists of people to come to them. So that's when I started doing that part-time alongside my job. And for me, my only aim was that I could manage my hours better and make the same money. And I got to the point where I thought this is totally doable, just with the kids events, never mind what the business is now. And eventually where I was working, I just became unhappy doing it. And I wasn't happy going to work. I was starting to do more hours, and I just thought, you know what? I don't think when you spend so much time at work that you should be unhappy. And I did it at the worst possible time, right? I'm not going to lie. Everyone thinks events will be massive in the summer because everyone's off on holiday. They're not. There's no events in summer. And I basically left my work at the end of May and had a good June, and then nothing happened. Like nothing happened for about 6 weeks. And I was like, what am I going to do? What have I done?
Oh, the fear.
Oh, proper panic. But then I was like, well, you've done it now, so you just need to crack on with it. And I just kept pushing it and turning up to events and organising stuff. I did stuff really cheap at the start, and I would actually advise not doing that. But I did it because I hadn't made a proper business plan. I hadn't got proper branding. I hadn't thought it through. So I just did everything I could. And actually after the summer, it snowballed, and the work that I put in, it was worth it. And I managed to take on a part-time member of staff within that first few months. But yeah, it was, do you know what? I guess to answer your question, I just wasn't happy. I just wasn't happy where I was. And I had to weigh up that versus the potential downside in money to begin with. And also my health. I'd been there before. I'd been in hospital with pneumonia, overworking myself and getting stressed out. So I thought, if I'm going to do that, I might as well do it for myself.
Well, this is the thing, because you and I have spoke about this, and it's like some people, you've just kind of maybe got that wee workaholic element to you, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like a lot of people do have that, don't they? they're very conscientious. If they want to get something finished, they'll stay late and finish it, and that's just how some people work. But when you're working for someone else, there's almost that realization where you're like, wait a minute, like this doesn't really serve me anymore than it does them. Like, whereas you're pulling away from your personal life, and it's not really serving you in a way. Like, I know that is maybe not like true for everyone, but you get to that point where you're like, if I'm going to work this hard, it's going to be for myself.
That's it. And like, I think we had the conversation before, I am a workaholic. I love working, and I actually have no issue working the hours. But at least I know I appreciate my work because I see the benefits of it rather than you're working all the hours and maybe, and you know what, this is not a slant against employers because I've had some amazing bosses and employers in the past.
Likewise.
But, and there's many downsides to running your own business as well. But for me, the things that are important to me is the things that I went into business for. So
yes. So for anyone thinking about doing it, it is important to weigh up what's important to you, isn't it?
Because, and you have to keep coming back to it. You have to keep coming back to it because, like I said there, so when I first went into it, it was all about making the same money, managing my own hours, and that was it. Make the same money, manage my hours. That was all I was interested in. As it's growing, that's completely changed. I'm not going to lie. Now I see the potential and I see how the business is growing and actually how much it does help people. And now I've got an apprentice come on and like, actually, I could take more people on, I could help. And I pay, I don't pay an apprentice wage, I pay them a proper wage. There's more that you can do. And actually, if I do work hard and I do work a bit longer and I do grow the business over the original plan, then I could maybe retire early. As soon as you see it starting to work and go past what you'd initially planned for, suddenly you're like, actually, there could be a bigger picture here. So yeah, it's but then always go back to it when you get days where you're just like, oh man, look what that person's doing, look what that person's doing. You have to go back and say, well, why did you start this? And where you are now is where you might have dreamed of a few years ago, and you just forget because it's healthy and good to keep updating those dreams and aims and plans.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love it. And we'll talk about celebrating the wins later on because that is definitely something that is important to do. Right, okay. So in your last year of lockdown, Heather, as you've said to us, like One4Growth has really taken shape from being, obviously, you were an events company, like you said, and all of a sudden it was like no events. So you've taken and run with it. And what I love about what you've said, Heather, is when you started your business, it wasn't like you had this big business plan and you had the branding nailed, because a lot of people have this pressure to be perfect before they launch something, don't they? Whereas actually you're so much better kind of sometimes just learning on the hoof and developing as you go, aren't you? Because then sometimes I know some people that this need for perfection has stopped them doing anything.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because I do wish to an extent I'd done more planning, but it wouldn't have helped me this year.
Yeah, well, exactly.
It wouldn't have done any good this year to me at all. So I think the main thing is, and I think this is what everyone has to remember, you get the fear all the time when you're running a business. You get imposter syndrome all the time. There's competition out there all the time. And you have to remember that if you didn't have faith in yourself to do your job, you would never have gone to do this. I mean, why, if you didn't genuinely believe in yourself to do your job, would you have given up regular income to go and do it?
Yeah.
So yes, I hadn't planned it properly at all. And actually now having a really clear brand, it is a lot easier. So while don't strive for perfection because you don't quite know what's going to come knocking at your door once you get up and running, have an idea. And if you can, but don't expect it to be perfect. And actually, I talked to Mike, who does all my graphics and branding and stuff with me, we've worked together for years, and he's rebranded or created different bits 2 or 3 times for me. And we talk about it a lot. At the end of the day, for small businesses, people buy into people.
Yeah.
So if you change your logo, then it's just a picture.
Yeah.
Right? If you change your company name, just make sure people know why you're doing it and it makes sense. But people will buy into people, and if you've communicated properly, then it's okay to change. It's okay to not have been right the first time and have to change, because are you the same as you were when you were 18?
I can't even
Thank
remember.
God
I can't
not.
remember who I was when I was 18.
Yeah. Why on earth wouldn't a business change when times change, when people change?
Well, 100%. I totally agree with you, and I think it's good to see a kind of development of a brand, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we talk about this a lot. We talk about it in the business club as well, about the importance of people buying people and kind of harnessing that with your brand, because you know there's some people that worry, some business owners worry, oh, am I too forward facing, like people don't really want to see me, but actually like humans are intrinsically nosy, aren't they? That's why we watch reality TV, that's why we follow celebrities in social media. So it's like you want to see the person behind the brand, and it helps you because people, when people like you, they're loyal to you, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's all down to the person, isn't it? And I remember working in hotels. I worked in 3 big hotels in Glasgow doing predominantly big banquet dinners, and whenever I moved hotel, those dinners would come with you. It didn't matter what the brand was you were going to.
Yep.
They trust you.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, if
yeah.
know what you want to do, obviously, but
yeah,
if just be you. And I think this is it. See, if you're trying to be somebody else as well, and you're trying to portray the image or trying to constantly compete with competition, you lose what you're doing and who you are, and you can only pretend for so long. So right, you might piss people off, some people might not like you, but that's okay, because there'll be somebody else that suits them.
Yeah, people will always not like you. Like, this is the thing, and it is quite hard to grasp, because I can be quite a people pleaser, as you know, like, and I get like, you know, like conscious of what other people think, but actually, like, you could be the nicest person in the world and do like you see it with people, and they do so much for charity, they do so much, and then you'll have someone like, oh, I hate him or I hate her, and you're just like, this person is like literally an angel on earth, and you dislike them. But that's just different personality types, isn't it?
It'd be a bit boring if we were all the same, wouldn't it? And
very, very boring. Yes, exactly. So we've got Arena HR, feel the fear and do it anyway. That's like one of my favourite quotes, I have to say.
yeah, it's true.
It's so true. And like we said, like, because we've both been in careers, and actually I loved being in a career, I loved being part of a team, I loved all that, and being self-employed. So like, we're not sitting here saying that it's easy by any stretch of imagination, because I would actually say running your own business and being self-employed is harder, because you need to almost wear every hat. Like, I remember being like, I've not got a clue about accountancy or legal stuff.
Yep.
It's hard. So yeah, it's one of those things that you need to have a real drive and passion for, don't you?
Yeah, definitely, because it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop at 5 o'clock. It doesn't stop on Friday. It just keeps going. So yeah, no, you have to want to do it.
Yep, and you have to love it, and it's important that's why you do it in the first place. Like you say,
yep.
You need to love what you do, because it takes up a lot of your life.
Yeah, 100%.
So you've been giving away some right nuggets in terms of business tips for growth, like just in what you've been saying and everything, Heather. Do you have like a couple of like main tips, or even one main tip over and above what you've already shared?
I think like the biggest one is, so I do one-to-one power hours with people, and that's really where I just sit and get to know where they are. And if you ask the right questions, you can work out where somebody is and where they want to be. And then it's just working out what that gap in the middle is. But I think, and it sounds dead. Sorry, I got a phone call coming in there.
Phone call.
No, don't get phone calls in the middle of lives. That's my big tip.
I know, honestly, I get a
yeah, I think, you know, you need to be seen. I think I'll go with it. You need to be seen. Okay. When you think about everything else that could go wrong, that could go right, at the end of the day, if people can't see you, you might as well not have a business. And how you can be seen, there's millions of ways, right? You might not like social media. It might not suit your brand. You might not need a website. You might not like doing networking events. You might love doing networking events. It could be about being in the papers and the radio. It doesn't matter. You just need to be seen. So it's hard to say without speaking to an individual company what it is they need to do. But I think if you're going to start a company, you need to accept, you need to get your face out there. You need to, I used to hate, I would never done a live a couple of years ago. I'd have never hosted an event. I would never have put my face on social media. But if you're going to run a company, you need to accept that you're going to be seen, and you need to actively go and get seen. Now, where that is can completely vary. So I think that be open to getting seen, but also invest. Now, investing is a difficult one because we all know when we start a company, we might not have tons of money to invest, right? You could do what I do, you just walk out your job and go, all right, okay. I don't have any money, I haven't got a plan, I don't have a logo. But when I mean invest, you have to invest your time. You have to invest in getting it right. Now, like you said a minute ago, when you start your own company, you have to be everything. You have to wear every hat. And you have to do that at the start. But there comes a point you can't. And you need to be brave enough to go, I need to invest in an accountant to help, because an accountant will help you make money if at the end of the day. They'll cost you money, but they should help you make money. I need to invest in somebody to help get, with admin work, or I need somebody to help me do a website. And as your business grows, goes back to what we were saying, as your business grows and develops, and you may have to change that, you may need to get somebody to help doing something else, and you might have to invest in that. So this is brand new today, but I've getting asked a lot for websites, and I will maintain people's websites, but I don't make them. I can, but it's not my expertise. And trying to look at how to grow the business, I've now partnered up with a company to do websites. So we will now be offering websites. Now, it will be an investment because we're going to have to redo bits to advertise it, but it's that invest in what will help your company grow. So if you don't have the money to invest in collaborations, invest your time into learning. There's many ways you can invest in your business. And we can sit and help with that. We can sit and go through what is actually going to grow your business. And if you don't have the money to do it, well, how can you do it? Because there is ways of doing stuff. There's always ways of doing stuff. So be seen and invest.
I love that. I love both of them. I think they are two lessons that obviously every business owner learns, isn't it? I remember when I started the GGC, public speaking actually crippled me. I could feel like I was going to have a panic attack before I was in front of anyone. So then the reason, the why of creating a business where I would have to stand up and talk to people, I still can't believe it. But it's feel the fear and do it anyway. And doing stuff that's outside your comfort zone makes you grow personally and professionally, doesn't it? So
definitely.
So true. And the whole be seen thing as well. I remember when I first started in marketing when I was at uni. So God, I don't even know how long that was. Basically, it was when Facebook was just launched. So that's how old I am. And I remember at the time it was we were getting told in our theory your brand needs to be seen 5 or 7 times before someone makes a purchase. But now it's almost times 10 of that.
Yeah, you're looking at 12 plus, isn't it? If you're lucky.
It's mental. People get so much bombarded with everything now, don't they? That it's be on social media, do this, do adverts, but it's hard. But you get into your groove, and it does become a fun challenge, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, it does. And it's the people you meet along the way as well. I mean,
Yes.
last week I was determined to overcome my Instagram live fear, because I spend my whole time telling my clients, do the lives, do the lives. I never do them.
You're like, better
So last week I'm like, right, International Women's Day, I'm just going to do the lives. I did one every lunchtime, and they were great. Yeah, and then I ended up eventually doing 8 lives in total last week, and I've got about 7 this week. So I've gone from, I've got the fear, and actually sometimes things aren't as bad when you just do it. You just kind of need to do it.
You just do it. You might have that initial scare, but then when you get into it, it's fine. And we talk about it on our Friday call, which we'll come to with the GGC Business Club. Like, all the bloopers that you get with live, there's always going to be something that goes wrong. Like last week, you had invited me to speak on your live series, and I couldn't get into it. I couldn't request to join it. And poor Heather was sitting talking for about 10 minutes before. Yeah. So these things always it's just how you handle them, isn't it? It's just...
That's it. That's it. I mean, things will always go wrong. That's the one thing you can guarantee. Things will go wrong.
Yeah.
But how are you going to get by that little moment?
I know. And actually, as humans, you like to see people overcome hurdles, don't you? Like, you're like, oh, actually, that was handled quite well. So it's almost like, don't panic. Yeah. Just go with it.
I know. That's it. What else are you going to do?
Well, exactly. Like, we stopped the live. Like, some of our members would just be like, I just stopped it. You're like, that's okay as well.
I know. It's like, yep.
Amazing. Right. Okay. So, Heather, you are obviously One4Growth is a partner of the GGC. But you're so much more than that. So you are also a part of the GGC. So you mentioned about investment. So I remember, like, obviously the business, I started the GGC business on December the 2018. That's when the membership launched. That's when I started monetizing the business. And then by the May, I was then pregnant with Bella Rose.
Yeah.
So obviously I'm thinking, wow, that was like an interesting timing, but you know, amazing. So that whole year pregnant, and then I remember having a conversation, because you and I have been friends for years, and I remember you saying to me, you know, like, don't ever, like, and I was really like panicked because I'd never given over the reins of the business. I didn't know how I was going to be as a first time mum with a new baby. Like, I mean, I was seriously worried. And then I remember you saying, yeah, but remember, like, I could help, and I could take over the social, and I could help with the business. And I thought, oh my goodness, there's somebody that I trust, and like someone who I know is amazing at sales, business growth. So like, it just kind of all fell into place like a dream. Thank God. So like, you're part of it. So tell us like, let's chat about how the business has come on since you've joined, or you're as a contractor, One4Growth.
Yeah. Well, I think I remember that conversation because we were sitting in Versanta having lunch. Yes. And I remember thinking, like, quietly going, she's going to be going on maternity leave pretty soon, and she's not got a plan yet.
No.
Because it's what we all do, we wing it. Yeah. And at that point, I was like, well, we've got the capacity. We could help. It makes sense. We know the company, you know us. So yeah, I think so. Obviously, last year we had just started in, was it January we'd started?
Yeah.
And then obviously lockdown came, so we were just learning our way, and lockdown happened, and it became, obviously, as you know, at that point, the personal membership was going to be the biggest hit, because a lot of that does rely on all the amazing facilities that Glasgow has, like your restaurants, bars, your beauty, your shopping, all the fun stuff, which we all still miss. Whereas,
yes, we do.
I know. Hello. We're not even going way back here somewhere. So the business one was obviously going to be the potential that would keep things up and running and keep things going. So, and I think everybody, apart from those who were just running their business, that would need more support. There was then those who didn't have a job now and would need support. And it's also a really exciting opportunity for people to go into business at this point too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the business club became quite quickly the focus. And for me, as you know, I was so glad, because the the business side of things was always my passion. It's always been my passion to help businesses grow. So it was a natural thing to push that.
Yeah.
And it did kind of happen in that, as you know, that was a community that started speaking up, that started wanting help. And when all the grants and stuff started coming up, the stuff to share that was positive was business stuff to an extent. To an extent, there's definitely some industries we all know that are still suffering. It's definitely not been a good news year, but the stuff to find to share was helpful to some people. And when you're in a year where everyone's locked down and there's not a lot to positivity about, you'll share what's good. Right? And if that's a grant, then it goes into the business club.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of where it started to develop. And then obviously we started I think was it June last year? June last year that we started the accountability.
Yep.
So obviously that came about because we both saw the need in companies and business owners, particularly ones on their own, that it was bloody lonely. I mean, lockdown itself was lonely, but to be a business owner stuck at home was double lonely. You have no colleagues. And I think for me as well, I found it really hard to create goals and motivate yourself and keep yourself going, because it was just getting, well, we thought it was getting a long time at that point.
Oh,
a year later. So yeah, obviously we started the growth and accountability, and that actually was really good because that is one of the things that pushed me into that whole growth and accountability rebrand as well. Yeah. So obviously it was that, it was pairing up the business members to become like a little partnership. They can help each other, they can support each other, they can discuss through goals. Once a month we all meet up and have a chat and discuss, like, did you meet your goals? And if not, it's okay, we're not there to kick anyone's arse. But what can we do? Like, was it realistic goal, or was there something environmental that, you know, operational that we can change or look at, or, you know, is your strategy right? And I think that has been an absolute godsend for everyone involved.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The growth and accountability program, I think, is worth the membership alone. So, and that has been the feedback as well from ladies, because the business club, so for anybody that doesn't know, the business club was created based on, firstly, my own experience of being self-employed, and then bringing Heather into the mix, and it's basically become collectively what we both experience that we need from a business club to help our brands grow. So things like, you've got deals, access to deals with lawyers, artists, videographers, photographers, everything that you would need, like accountancy, so things that we're talking about that you should be investing in for your business. You get access to a private community whereby it's full of career women, entrepreneurs, ladies just about to go into business, and we all share our expertise and advice. No question is silly, so you could ask a question and no question is silly. There's regular training from various different experts in the group. So you've got Suze from Technology Coaching, who does digital skills training. We've got Claire, who does copywriting. We're about to start getting accountancy skills. Like, there's all sorts of training. And as Heather says, the growth and accountability was an add-on. So like the subscription stays the same, £70 a year. But that is actually buddying you up, because it's lonely being in business on your own. So brainstorming ideas with other people is magic, because actually you could have one idea which is okay, but then see, when you spoke to your accountability buddy and then spoke to the group as a whole, all of a sudden that wee idea which is okay becomes an action plan with additional ideas, and it actually becomes this whole big campaign. So I think that in itself is completely priceless.
This is it. You can do a full SWOT analysis. Right? You sit in one of those calls. It's brilliant. It saves you so much time as well.
so true. And what else do we do, Heather? So we started this in lockdown as well, our weekly Friday call at 5:30. So
that's brilliant.
Coffee o'clock, but really it's fizz, wine, and
maybe fizz and gin mix.
Lethal. So yeah, and we basically just chat about wins of the week. We chat about learnings so that people can share. We brainstorm ideas for each other, because when you're in business on your own, you don't really regularly celebrate your small wins, do you? If you're not part of like a club or a team that help you do that.
No, and I think as well, particularly this year, that it's really important to celebrate your wins, but you're also very nervous about it because you're aware that not everyone's having many wins this year. And like, there's going to be some industries that will thrive, there'll be some industries that have died a death. But it's a safe community that even if you're not one of the ones with a win, you can celebrate with other people. It's that nice, supportive community. And even if that week you're like, I can't think of any wins, do you know what? It doesn't actually matter because you got through the week, you turned up in the call, and if you get anything you want to ask, the support's there. So, and that's not just a Friday call. I think that's the whole ethos in the Facebook group in general.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And that's like you say, like some weeks we've had ladies on the call, business women, who've come on and cried because they've been so emotional. And it's such a safe space that can be like, right, so what's been challenging you and how can we help? And it's about being on that. I know it's quite cheesy, but that whole kind of tribe vibe attracts your tribe. If people are, it's like we're all rising together, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Because as you know, the whole fluffy side of things, I call it, it's just not my thing, right? Yeah. But it's true, and I shocked myself with it because it's not the sort of thing that I thought I'd get into. Whereas now, okay, maybe it's business, but it's more than that. It's so much more than that. And you learn so much in it as well. And I think, like other things as well, like the panel events. The panel events are brilliant.
Yeah. Tell us about the last one. That was so good.
So the last panel event we did was our social media focus, wasn't it?
Yes.
For the right month. Yeah. So we had 3 experts on who, again, all business members, because we're all about shouting about our business members. And they came on and just shared their expert tips. And it was one of actually the biggest online events we've had, I think.
Oh, absolutely, it was.
But yeah, so the panel events that all are bringing together, we choose a topic, and it can be a learning topic or an inspirational topic. And we bring together 2 or 3 people within that industry, but with different slants as well.
Yeah.
For all business members can come for free, personal members can come for $250. Or 5, or for non-members, because you wouldn't want to shut it off when you've got such a good group of people there.
Yeah.
And the next one this month is about survival. So it's a good time, and hopefully coming out the other side of lockdown and being a year. But it's all about survival with Anne Hughes and Madeline Black, and obviously working on the next month's one, which we will keep under wraps just now.
We're launching soon.
Yeah, but everyone knows, right? There comes a point you get a bit zoomed out. Like there's a lot of Zooms, there's a lot of online stuff just now. And do you know what? They're all really good. Like there's loads of amazing events out there. So to try and do something that bit more, that bit extra.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we just put 3 or 4 great speakers together and have them all at once and be that whole rounded event? But also for us as a business, it just makes perfect sense, because if you're not interested in one speaker, you won't go to that event. But if you have a panel of speakers, it's very unlikely that you won't get some growth or learning from that panel of speakers.
So true. And like you said, Heather, for business members, these events are all free. So like everything that we've spoke about, the accountability, the monthly glow groups, all the training, access to the Facebook group, like we do regular free advertising, so they get listed on our website. They've got the opportunity to run an offer to our members. They get to do Instagram takeovers of the main GGC account. They get shout outs in the main group, in the glow report that we've started doing. Business members will always get first access to collaborations with the GGC, won't they? Because that's, like you said, it's really important to us that if a business is coming invested in the club, that we invest back in them if we can.
Oh, 100%, definitely. And I think as well it's worth mentioning, because again, there's loads of networking groups out there and everything as well. And I think that's what I find. And as you know, I'm in a multitude of them.
You're a top networker, I have to say.
But I think the one thing that GGC has for the businesses is, yes, when you join the GGC Business Club, you join because of the community, because of the learning, because of the deals that you can get. But there's this other side to it as well. You've got the Facebook page that's got almost 27,500 followers now, and that grows every week. You've got the Instagram that's 16,500 or 16.6 thousand.
Yeah.
So you have these other communities that allow you to monetize your membership as well. You can
get that scene, get that scene aspect.
Exactly. And obviously adding on this year, it was a newbie with that in mind. So everybody gets to advertise on a Monday. Anybody, business members or not, on a Monday on the Facebook site.
Yeah.
But nobody gets onto Instagram. We will advertise our business members on the Instagram as well. Yeah. However, the new add-on, the Diamond membership, then allows a business member to advertise 365 days a year on those communities.
Exactly, and that's the thing. It's up. They basically unlock posting privileges which nobody else can get access to.
No, and that was deliberate because obviously the Facebook page it's a community for people to ask questions and get help and get support. And as it grows so much, you don't want it to become spammy. Because let's be honest, there's plenty of spammy groups out there. So obviously we've turned on the post approval, which means that we get to get a wee foresight of what's coming up. And it means that we can manage and ensure that our business members are getting all the visibility. Our Diamond members are getting there without approval. They get to go straight on every week or every day.
Pre-approved post. They don't even need admin.
Yeah, and it just means that we can make sure that group gives the best value to those in the group, but also to the businesses investing in it.
Yes, I love it here. You're selling it to me.
No, you better buy a membership, Laura.
I know. So we're actually announcing something else this week, which is something you've been working on behind the scenes. Tell us about it, because this is another benefit. No additional cost to your membership, but this is another benefit.
Yeah, so how you claim this is to be confirmed yet.
Yep.
But obviously the Glasgow Chamber of Commerce is a massive benefit to any business in the city. The membership for a small business is, I want to say it's like 300 plus VAT, maybe more. But the contacts they have and the work they do to lobby business and to create change for businesses in Glasgow is outstanding. And every city has their chamber, and then there's a Scottish chamber, the British chambers, and they are there to represent businesses. Now, what we've managed to link up with the Chamber of Commerce in Glasgow is that any GGC business member will be able to benefit from all Chamber of Commerce member benefits without being a member. So all their benefits, their database, their events, you get access to this at member rates, which is absolutely amazing, because the quality and the contacts that they have and the learnings they have just add on to what we do as well. And it just creates effectively, by being a GGC membership, you're saving 300 quid on the membership for Chamber of Commerce.
That's honestly so good, and that was down to you working your magic, I have to say. So we've not even told the GGC. I think we've got a couple of GGC business members on just now, but we've not
nobody knows yet.
We'll need to do something in the group to give them.
Well, hopefully we can get Sarah from Chamber of Commerce, who we've been working with. Hopefully we can get her on, and she can well, maybe we do a wee event for business members. They can all come on and she can do a presentation and tell them all about it. But it is fantastic, and I think this is hopefully the start of more. Because obviously it is Glasgow, GlowGetters Club. However, I think that business goes outside of just the city boundaries. And absolutely. I think this year alone we've got members from Orkney. We've got members from Outer Hebrides. We've got members from all around Scotland, because business doesn't stop when you go outside the G postcode. So hopefully this will be, oh, there's Sarah on now. We're just talking about GGC.
There we go.
GGC. So yeah, when this is hopefully the start of link-ups with different chambers or different groups across the country, so that we can help our members again expand their network and their businesses outside of Glasgow.
Oh, so exciting, so exciting. Right, Heather, so that was a brilliant chat. Really, really good. So good, obviously, getting to know more about your brand. Obviously, I know, but it's good for other people to hear more about One4Growth, hear about the GGC Business Club. The difference that you've made to the business is invaluable. So that's, I tell you, if you need a toy tomorrow from me, you've got it. So let's finish up, because I know that you've got a busy day ahead of you as well. Faith, you posted something on social media yesterday I loved, so you might say this, but if you don't, we'll go back to that. What is your fave mantra to get you buzzed up in business? This is just to round off.
So I was having to think about this, because you know I love a wee mantra. Actually, my favourite post to do for GGC is picking the Monday mantras.
Yes,
but I actually came across this one last week. And I think it's because it looks mathematical, and I am horrific at maths. So it really stuck out and made me read it. So it's E plus R equals O.
Okay.
Okay, so there's always an event, your E.
Yeah.
There's always an outcome, your O.
Okay.
But what your response, your R, determines what happens.
Oh.
So between your event and your outcome is your response. And it's up to you how you make things happen, by how you respond to things. And I think that is so right in business, in your personal life, in absolutely everything.
Yes, so true. And it's even like exactly what we're saying about the lives. Like, it's your, if something goes wrong, it's how you respond. So that you actually could put that into every part of life. So I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, Heather, it's been so good chatting to you. Like, we've actually never done a live like this, talking about like business. So maybe something I'll hook you into more in this GGC business. But listen, thank you for joining. Thanks everyone for watching, and anyone that watches on replay. And you'll be able to see Heather's social media at One4Growth above, and make sure you give her a follow if you've not, and give us a shout if you've ever got any questions on the GGC Business Club.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. Thanks, ladies. Speak to you soon. Bye.